On today's podcast, we're going to discuss getting out on the floor to examine all aspects of safety, so stay tuned. Welcome to Warehouse Safety Tips. You can find the show notes to each episode, links to information mentioned on the podcast, the social media platforms we're on, and anything else related to the podcast at warehousesafetytips.com. Now, if you're a seasoned podcast listener, this podcast is going to be different from most you listen to. It's based around exactly what the name implies, warehouse safety tips. And since the people in this industry are busy, we know that time is money and each episode will be as short and to the point as possible. And now, with all of that out of the way, let's get to the podcast. One of the easiest traps you can fall into as management is not getting out on the floor and or regularly speaking with the staff that works on the floor. I call it a trap because if you really want to know what's going on at your facility, you have to leave your office. And not just via a flyby, but hopping right into the action. And when it comes to ideas, you want to get them from contributors outside of management. And just like getting out into your facility, get invested in what your staff tells you. The third S of the 5S methodology is shine. But it goes way beyond what it sounds like, which is cleaning. Improvement of the efficiency and safety processes within your facility is also part of it. And when you combine the fifth S of the 5S methodology, sustain, you're not just maintaining, but you're implementing improvements wherever you can. Remember getting out of your office and listening to your staff? Take the info and make whatever procedures you have in place much better. Before moving on, here's a word from one of our sponsors. If you've ever been to or worked in a warehouse, you know just how important safety is to both management and staff. It's almost impossible to go 10 steps without seeing safety tape, angles, signs, and or safety products. It's these items that show us how to be safe and avoid danger in the workplace. And if you're looking for the best products to make this happen, look no further than Mighty Line. Mighty Line floor signs and floor markings offer the best industrial products out there. We're proud to have Mighty Line as the official floor sign and floor marking company for the Warehouse Safety Tips podcast and site. Go to mightylinetape.com/safety tips to request a sample pack of their incredible safety signs and floor markings. Now back to the podcast. In the first part of this podcast, we spoke about getting out on the floor. As management, although you may have worked in the position you're now in charge of, or you have knowledge of it, you still need to have a constant finger on the pulse of your facility. And there's no better way to do that than getting out into your facility. Many times when people see management coming, they associate it with negativity. While out and about, be sure to give as many kudos and recognition as you do everything else. Encourage interaction and feedback. Doing so will allow you to move from what you could hypothetically implement to having practical information to make real improvements. And those real improvements will improve safety, and that's what we all want to see. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Warehouse Safety Tips. If you visit warehousesafetytips.com, you'll find the show notes for this episode and access to all of our blog posts, previous podcasts, advertiser information, and much more. Thank you for listening to Warehouse Safety Tips and have a safe day.